Hello, welcome to Psyched Minds. We are reading It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wallen. How inherited family trauma shapes who we are and how to end the cycle. We are on chapter 7. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, do subscribe and share it with other people who listen to such content. Okay, we are on chapter 7 Core Descriptors. Words like nature half reveal and half conceal the soul within. Alfred Lord Tennyson, In Memoriam, AHH. The feelings we hold about our parents are a doorway into ourselves. They are also a doorway into the four unconscious themes introduced in Chapter 5, helping us to pinpoint which ones are operating in our lives. In this chapter, you will be asked to describe your biological mother and father. In doing so, let yourself be free with your responses. As you move through the following exercises, you are likely to discover more about yourself than about your parents. If you have never met your biological parents, proceed to the next chapter. Describe your mother. Take a moment to describe your mother when you were growing up. What was she like? What adjectives or phrases instantly come to mind? Was she warm, loving, cold, distant, happy, sad? Did she hug you a lot or rarely hug you? Grab your notebook and write down your first thoughts, the first words that come to mind. Written exercise 3, describing your mother. My mother was. Also write down what you blame her for. I blame my mother for. Write everything down. Don't do this in your head. It's essential that you write down the words as they come to you. Describe your father. Now do the same thing for your father. How would you describe him? Was he kind, easygoing, harsh, critical? Was he involved or not involved? Write everything down. Resist the impulse to edit. Writing exercise 4, describing your father. My father was. Also write down what you blame him for. I blame my father for. Written exercise 5, describing your partner, close friend, or boss. My partner, close friend, or boss is. I blame him or her for. While you're in the flow, you might even want to describe your romantic partner if you have one, or a close friend, or even boss. Now let's take a look at what has just been revealed in your writing. I call these spontaneous, off the cut adjectives and phrases core descriptors. These descriptors are a doorway into our unconscious feelings. They can reveal feelings about our parents that we might not even be aware we hold. Writing down an impromptu list of adjectives and phrases give us the opportunity to bypass the adult rationalized, refined version of our childhood story. In this writing, our true attitudes can emerge, devoid of the usual filters and censors. This list can put up in touch with unconscious loyalties and alliances we share with our parents. What's more, it can reveal how we have rejected one or both of our parents, or how we have adopted the very behaviors we judge as negative in them. These descriptors don't lie because they come from an inner image we carry, an image we formed long ago, perhaps to protect ourselves from feeling hurt. When we were small, our bodies functioned as recorders, chronicling the information we took in and storing it as feeling states. The adjectives takes us back into these feeling states and the images that accompany them. The adjectives are significant because they highlight old images that prevent us from moving ahead. Many of us hold images that are painful, images of our parents not giving us enough, images of not getting what we needed. Unchecked, these inner images can direct the courses of our life, forming a blueprint for how our lives will continue. These images are also incomplete. An essential truth is missing. What traumatic event lurked behind these images that were powerful enough to detail the flow of love in our family? Now look at the words you have written. Are there resentments you still hold towards your parents? Are there accusations? If so, you may already have experienced that the very complaints you hold against your parents are the same complaints that you experience with your partner or with a close friend. Often, our discontent towards our parent gets projected onto our partner or show up in our close friendships. What is unresolved with our parent does not automatically disappear, it serves as a template that forges our later relationships. If we had difficult relationship with our parents, our core descriptors will expose the resentments we are still harboring. When we are resentful, it erodes our inner peace. Those of us who feel that we didn't receive enough from our parents, especially from our mother, often feel that we don't receive enough from life. When we have had a close relationship with our parent, our core descriptor reveal the warmth and compassion we feel towards them. When we feel positive towards our parents, we tend to feel positive about life and trust that good things will continue to come our way. Sometimes our core descriptors reveal mixed feelings. In most cases, people hold disparate feelings towards their parents, yet one theme or essential thread of core language often stands out as unresolved. And this is what we are looking for. For some of us, the action of our parents are still felt as personal attacks or rejections. Look at the way these two sisters, each with different childhood experiences, describe their mother. First sister, lonely, sad, frustrated, strict, violent. She had a bad temper. Second sister, cruel, vindictive, and emotionally abusive. In the words of the first sister, the descriptor of mother is merely stated as a truth. In the second sister's description, her pain has not been resolved. In the second sister's description, and is still carried in the form of blame and judgments towards her mother. To this sister, the actions of the mother are felt as intentionally directed towards her. She feels singled out, whereas the first sister is stating facts. A mother can be violent and have a bad temper, and we can still be at peace with her. The second sister, who sees her mother as intentionally cruel, is clearly not at peace with her mother. One can only imagine how differently the two sisters experienced life. Although they shared the same mother, each sister carried a personal version of that mother inside her. The second sister experienced her life as cruel and abusive. She felt emotionally drained and unsupported and was alone much of the time. Sometimes we are able to feel love for one parent and not the other. Kim, who preferred her father to her mother, complained that her mother was infantile, like a little girl. I could never count on her for anything. In contrast, her co-descriptor about her father were glowing. Dad was wonderful. We did everything together. I could always go to him for comfort and care. He should have left my mother a long time ago. He never got the love he needed from her. Beneath the surface of Kim's resentment towards her mother surged a sea of hurt. Add to that the feeling of betrayal in wishing that her mother would be left by her father. Kim's emptiness and disconnectedness permeated her core language. When we pit one parent against the other, we go against the source of our own existence and unconsciously create a rift inside ourselves. We forget that half of us come from our mother and half from our father. Kim's resentment served only to fuel her self loathing and inner utter unrest. It was a prison from which her only escape was self awareness. Many of us have become fixated on something we believe our parents have done to us that has spoiled our lives. We have allowed these memories, whether accurate or distorted, to override the good things that our parents gave to us. Parents, in the course of being parents, inadvertently cause their children pain. It's inevitable. The problem is not what our parents have done to us, the problem is how we are still holding on to it. Generally, when our parents cause us harm, it was unintentional. All of us feel that there are things we didn't get from our parents, but being at peace with our parents means that we are at peace with what we receive as well as what we did not receive. When we hold that what was given in this light, we can gain strength from our parents, who, even if they couldn't always show it, wanted only the best for us. Common core descriptors from an early break in the bond. Yet there are many of us who have experienced an early separation or a break in the bond with our mother and struggle to find peace. That feeling of solid ground beneath our feet. The following are some common core descriptors from people who experienced an early disconnection from their mother. Mom was cold and distant. She never held me. I didn't trust her at all. My mother was too busy for me. She never had any time for me. My mom and I are really close. She's like my little sister I take care of. I don't ever want to be a burden to my mom. My mother was distant, emotionally unavailable, and critical. She would always push me away. She doesn't really care about me. We don't have a relationship. I felt much closer to my grandmother. She was the one who mothered me. My mother is completely self centered. It's all about her. She never showed me any love. She can be very calculating and manipulative. I didn't feel safe with her. I was scared of her. I never knew what was going to happen next. I'm not close with her. She's not maternal, not like a mother. I've never wanted children. I've never had that maternal feeling inside me. Can you hear the pain in these core descriptors? In chapter 11, we will explore in detail the core language of separation and how to rebuild our relationship with our mothers. It's important to note that not everyone who has experienced a break in the early bond will be resentful towards his or her mother. Often, the mother is deeply loved and trusted. Sometimes, after such a break, a child unknowingly shuts down to receiving the mother's nurturance and instead attempts to take care of the mother as a way of bonding with her. Sometimes the break occurred so early in life that there is no cognitive memory of the experience. Body memories of the separation can be triggered, however, when bonding or distancing is experienced in relationships. Without ever understanding why, we can feel overwhelmed by feelings of terror, dissociation, numbness, disconnection, defeat, and annihilation. The emotional charge in core descriptors. The emotional charge contained in your core descriptors can function like a barometer to gauge the healing that still needs to take place. Generally, the stronger the negative charge, the clearer the direction for healing. You are looking for words that contain a significant emotional charge. Feel the emotional charge in these words spoken by a 27-year-old man describing his alcoholic father. My father is a drunk. He's totally useless. He's an idiot, a complete loser. He was never there for my mother or for us kid. He was abusive and violent towards her. I have absolutely no respect for him. Underneath words like drunk and useless, underneath idiot and loser, you can feel the son's hurt. The boy's anger and numbness are only the top layers. Anger and numbness are much easier to feel than sadness and pain. At his core, the son likely feels devastated whenever he sees his father drinking. You can also sense his mother's feeling towards his father in the following words: he was never there for my mother or for us kid. The words useless and never there for us were probably his mother's words. That she had shut down to her husband made it almost impossible for her son to be open to him. The son appears to be loyal to his mother on the surface, but in reality, he actually shared his father's plight. He drank like his father and raged at his girlfriend until she kicked him out, just as his mother had kicked his father out. In this way, the son unwittingly wove a subterranean thread that tied him to his father. He made sure he wouldn't have more in life than his father had, until the relationship between them healed. He repeated his father's suffering. With his father back in his life, he was freer to make healthier choices. When a parent is rejected or disrespected, one of the children will often represent that parent by sharing the rejected behavior. In this way, the child makes himself or herself equal to the parent by suffering in a similar way. It is as though the child is saying, I'll grow through it too, so that you don't have to go through it alone. Loyal in this way, the child continues the suffering into the next generation. It often doesn't stop there. It is essential that we make peace with our parents. Doing so not only brings us inner peace, it also allows us harmony to spread into the generation that follow. By softening towards our parents and dropping the story that stands in the way, we are more likely to halt the senseless repetition of generational suffering. While at first this might seem challenging or even impossible, I have witnessed again and again the unexpected rewards of healing our connection with our parents, including experiencing positive outcomes in our health, relationships, and productivity. Shifting your inner image of your parents. 1. Read your core descriptors again. This time, read them out loud. 2. Listen with your new ears. Do you hear anything new? 3. Do the emotionally charged words indicate that you still have unresolved feelings towards your parents? 4. Feel your body as you read the descriptors. Does your body tighten or relax? How about your health, breath? Is it flowing or stuck? 5. Notice if there is anything inside you that wants to shift. Your core descriptors are a valuable step in rebuilding your relationship with your parents. It makes no difference whether your parents are living or have passed away. Once you decrypt or your core descriptors, the negative feelings, attitudes, and judgments you hold towards your parents can finally shift. Remember, the greater the emotional charge in your words, the deeper your pain. There is often sadness hibernating beneath your angry words. The sadness won't kill you, the anger actually might. The image you have of your parents can affect the quality of life you live. The good news is that this inner image, once revealed, can change. You can't change your parents, but you can change the way you hold them inside you. Interesting. That brings us to the end of chapter 7, the core descriptors. If there is any comments, any kind of feedback, you are welcome to write it in the comment section of the video you're viewing or in the community section. Bye bye for now. Take care. Keep reading. Bye. I will be uploading it, of course, in the playlist section.